YouTube, welcome to this very special video. It's kind of different to the sort of usual content I tend to make because this is strike while the iron is hot time. Last night, at time of recording, and hopefully I'll get this up tonight so that it's still last night, we had the announcement of the design of the new Sonic Survivor from the upcoming anniversary episodes. We finally know what it looks like. This morning they announced the release of the toy. I've known what the Sonic Survivor is going to look like since early last month because I was sent the toy. So I have it. I've got it. It's here. I'm holding it in my hand right now. So I thought it would just be fun to have a little look at the Sonic Survivor and just sort of see what it's all about. Because why not? Like I said, I don't really make reviews of stuff. This isn't going to be much good as a review, but you know, Batman March, I'm pretty sure has already put his up, so I'll link to that if you want like a proper review. I'm just gonna show you this, and we're gonna be like, hey, isn't this thing neat? Now, up until this point, I've not really been someone that's particularly collected the Sonic Survivor toys, and I don't really know why. I don't know. I've just not had it in my budget to. I've always got quite limited spending money, and the Doctor Who figures have eaten up a lot of that, and then the DVD range I was getting back in the day, and now the Blu-rays. So I don't know, I just didn't have enough disposable income to treat myself to a Sonic Survivor. I had a shot, I got to borrow one years and years and years ago. I got to borrow the proper toy off the 11th Doctor's one. I used that for one of my fan videos. It's up there somewhere. It's in the depths of my channel, and that was really fun. That was the one where you did this and the claws went. That was really fun. I was like, I wish I had one of them, and I didn't get one. I got this little tiny one. I've got a dozen of them kicking around the place somewhere. So in future videos, if I was doing Doctor Who and I needed a Sonic Survivor, I'd use this. It's to be honest, in some ways I like this better than the actual 11th Doctor Sonic because it's smaller. It's sort of the one thing. The Sonic's very big and chunky these days. I don't know if anyone kind of feels the same with it. They tend to be a bit large and cumbersome. But yeah, so I had that. Then you might have seen this in the background of my videos, and I had it in my Christmas video. I was sent this by a very good friend last year about Christmas time, and it's basically it's the character options Pertwee screwdriver, but it's a rare prototype version where they electroplated it, so it's a lot glossier and chromier than the actual released one, which was just sort of sprayed silver. And point of interest, my favourite Sonic Survivor design is this one. This is I like the stripe a bit. I just think that's neat, and I like this bit that goes up and down. It's very fun to use. I don't think that's how the Pertwee held the. I'm naturally inclined to just sort of do that with my finger. I think he did it. I don't know, like this maybe. Anyway, so this is kind of my most interesting Sonic Survivor because it was the only proper one I had. To my knowledge, there's only 2 of these in existence. I've got one. The other one, who knows? It's somewhere. But yeah, it's basically the one that was sold as a toy, just slightly nicer finish. So that usually sits in the background behind me. And that was it for my Sonic Survivors until, as I said, early June, I was sent this. I've not taken any photos of this because I was like, it was stopped. Obviously, it wasn't to leak, and I'm sure character options don't want to be the source of the leak. I don't want to be the source of, problems for other people. Just to be on the safe side, I just didn't take any pictures. You know that thing where you send someone a picture and you press the picture next to the one you're sending, and suddenly someone's like, "Why did you send me this? This is a weird thing to send." It can happen. So I saved myself the possibility. I just didn't take any photos until yesterday. But yeah, now I can take as many pictures as I like, and it's nice. It's a cool thing. I mean, you'll have seen it probably better in the you'll have seen it better in the trailer. You'll see it better in other people's reviews, because I'm sure all the other people that have this will be putting up the reviews and giving their thoughts. I'll give some thoughts on it because I have thoughts. I just think it's neat though. We've got this thing. Let's see. It's slightly more cumbersome, I would say, than the claws. Obviously, when I had a shot of the 11th Sonic Screwdriver, this was 13, 14 years ago. No. Yeah, 13 years ago. Wow. So yeah, I seem to remember you could just go, and the claws would go. Whereas this one, you've got to slide the slider up, which is it's slightly less user friendly. It works. So I like these little these little lights that light up in the shaft. That's quite nice, little 2 dots. One thing I'll say, the emitter, it looks like it lights up quite well there, but it doesn't light up as much at this bit at the top. So it's just a small thing. I've not seen the real one in action, so maybe it doesn't light up so much either. But this is basically it. We've also got this thing at the bottom. It clicks. I think that's pretty neat. And it's 4 different sounds. So you click it once, and that's the sort of standard noise. Incidentally, I'm not sure where the speakers are, but it sounds more muffled if it's on when it's closed. So that's a point of interest. It makes sort of like a TARDIS ambient-y sort of sound for 2 clicks. 3, it does a sort of charging noise. I think that's my favourite one. And then 4, it plays kind of an abrasive fire alarm noise. I don't know, warning? I've not seen this in action in the episode, so I don't know what any of these noises tally up to. I mean, obviously this is the standard noise. But yeah, so that's the 4 sounds it makes. The thing that I like about this particularly, and it comes back to the same reason that I really like this one, is this lovely chrome finish. But I think there's going to be 2 versions. This is the Character Options Online exclusive one that's got the chrome finish. And I think there's going to be a cheaper one that's just like sprayed silver, and that's going to be like the toy is going to be like half the price, and it's going to be available more broadly. There's nothing wrong with a cheaper version, as far as I can tell. Some people are saying it doesn't have the claws, the extension, and I don't actually know. No one's told me one way or the other, because like why would they? But I can't imagine that they wouldn't, because that feels like kind of an important thing, the extended feature. I don't know. I guess we'll find out, but for me personally, I think the fact it's got this nice chromy finish, it's nicer. It's sort of more sort of, it feels more like the actual prop than a toy, and I think that's the thing that kind of lets down previous Sonic Screwdriver toys. Like I have enough budget nowadays, I could go back and collect them. It would be doable, but I don't know, the sort of plasticky look to them just it slightly lets them down. So this sort of chrominess, that's a big selling point for me for this one. I do prefer something. I don't know if it's made of metal or if it's just made from plastic coated in. I suspect it. I mean, it's quite light, so it is probably plastic, but it looks very realistically metally. So yeah, Sonic Screwdrivers in general. I think I've already said my favourite Sonic Screwdriver is the purpley one. This design of screwdriver though continues through the classic series. Tom Baker's one, or late partway into Tom Baker, and then slightly adapted into Davison's. It's all more or less this one with slight changes. They got rid of the stripy bit, and they changed, the emitter was longer, and they repainted it a couple of times. But more or less it was sort of this rough shape, this sort of cylinder, and it went in, and it had a sort of, like that little ring at the top. And then, you know, so all of those, that's how I like a Sonic Screwdriver. I like it, I like the sort of, it feels like a very sort of precise scientific instrument. It's got a slightly medical look to it. It's kind of like the, you know, check your legs out for the lads. Slight filming break as I jogged my shelf and everything fell down. Yeah, what was I saying? Sonic Screwdrivers, the old ones, these old ones, they're almost like a sort of like a medical looking instrument. I like that. I like a Sonic Screwdriver to look sort of technical. The Eccleston Tennant one, I quite liked it. It was still nice and sort of small and compact, and with a little light at the top and the bit that came up, and I liked that. I thought that was nice. The Matt Smith one was the first one I got to like play about with the toy properly, and I do really like it. It's a bit big and a bit chunky, and that's kind of a criticism that this one has. It is a little bit cumbersome. In fairness, it makes my horribly giant hands look normal size, which is, you know, there's pluses to everything. But yeah, that was the only thing I think, the Matt Smith one, a bit on the chunky side. Then we had the Peter Capaldi one, you know, the Series 10, awful. Oh gosh, there was a toy of it, and the toy of it looked like a toy, because there was no way to make that not look like the real thing. It just looked like, the actual prop looked like absolute garbage. It was cumbersome. It had a bit like this, with the sort of like the sort of spokes, but it was at the bottom, and it was even bigger than this. And it didn't look right either way up. I'm not a fan. I think that's probably my least favourite Sonic Screwdriver is the Capaldi one. And the best TARDIS console, worst Sonic. Then Jodie's one was at least smaller and sort of more ergonomic looking, but I just wasn't a fan of that sort of melty, chewed up, toffee, melted candle sort of blobby thing it had going for it. It was fine, but it wasn't a particularly a favourite. I'd say this one, the new one, and we're ignoring the toys. I mean, this is just a representation of the toy, but I'm just giving my thoughts in general now on Sonic Screwdriver design through the years. This one's smaller. I mean, I think it's slightly. I don't know if it's smaller than the Matt Smith one or not. It's got less handle than the Matt Smith one, because the Matt Smith one was about that much. What's the proportion? Yeah, the claws were just at the very top, and so is this. I feel like this is better proportioned than the Matt Smith one. That would be kind of my. It's like the Matt Smith one, with the drop of the tenon in the handle design and slightly nicer proportions. Someone asked me, how would you rank all of the Sonic Screwdrivers of the new series? So obviously all the classic ones are kind of grouped in with the Pertwee slightly above them. The rest of the classic series ones just below. John Hurt's one's quite nice. That's maybe kind of grouped in just below them. Then, I don't know, the Tennant and the Smith one and this one are pretty much on a par. It's hard to, that's not very helpful ranking. All of the ones that aren't awful, then Jodie's one, then Capaldi's one. That's the ranking. That's it. That's how I rank. But yeah, I guess people might ask something like, should I get this? I'm not the person to ask, to be honest. If you want one of these, then you should get it. If you don't want one, don't. I mean, that's a nice straightforward way to put it. Like I said, the difference between this and the one that's like half the price is the cheaper one doesn't have the nice finish. If you want one, but you don't want to pay that much and the finish doesn't matter that much to you, get the cheaper one. If you don't want one at all, don't get one at all. I'm really happy to have this. Like I said, it was very surreal to everyone else last night. Watched that video and that was the big announcement, you know, the animated thing, and we saw the Sonic Screwdriver and unveiled to us all this fancy animated stuff. I first saw it when I took it out. Oh, hang on a second, actually. Right, yeah, so here's the box that it came in, and I opened it up from this end. So we got the bit where it said 14th Doctor's Sonic Screwdriver, and I was like, okay, so I'm about to find out what the Sonic is. I mean, it was very exciting, but I felt like, I don't know, whoever designed Sonic Screwdriver would probably prefer it wasn't unveiled to me by pulling a box out of a box. But that was it. That was my exciting moment. I was like, wow, it took me a while to sort of realise I've now seen this thing. No one, well, not no one, but most people aren't going to see this until whenever. I was told not to show it to anyone, and I endeavoured to just, like, not even take photos of the thing. So that was, I don't know, like the 2nd of June, and today it's the 20th of July. So this is the better part of 2 months that I've had this thing. And I was thinking, if I filmed anything, I was like, I'll have to move it out of frame because it's just been sat on the shelf behind me. I don't think you quite see it in the video, but I wouldn't trust it. I've got all the B&M stuff that hasn't been announced yet, and I moved it all off my shelves. It's all over there, just because I don't want to accidentally leak anything. Except that one picture, that cropped one that I put on Twitter, and everyone, that was just a bit of mischief. You know, was that a picture of Richard Herndl, or was it just a picture of 3 Doctors William Hartnell? You decide. So that's it. I just had a little ramble for a while. I don't know how long I've been talking. Yeah, Sonic Screwdriver. It's final thoughts on it. It's nice. Yeah, I like it. I like it better than the last 2, and I like it about the same as the 2 before. So I think that's good. I think that's nice. I'm happy to have it. It doesn't actually work to open doors, but who knows? Maybe there'll be a 3rd version that they'll sell that actually does, like, open doors and you know, do the 5 million other things that the Sonic Screwdriver apparently does these days. Yeah, but that's it. That's the end of the video. I hope you've enjoyed yourself. I hope you've learned something new about... I've not told you anything of value, have I? It's just a nice thing. It's fun to play with. I wish it had more of a click when you did this. It's nice, but the mechanism... I think that's... as far as I can tell, I think this is probably what the real one's like. There's only so many ways you can do something. I don't know. I'd like a sort of spring-loaded click to it, would be my personal preference. But I'm not the one in charge of designing these things. I don't know what's possible. It's a nice thing. I like it. So that's the end of the video. I've said that like 6 times. I'll let you go now. Tune in. You know what? It's not the end of the video, I'm just going to talk a bit more. It's the Doctor Who anniversary year this year, and I thought to myself, I'm going to make more Doctor Who videos. I'll make like another like Who week or a Who month with some extra Doctor Who videos. And I just haven't. I've been, to be honest with you, I've been in a bit of recently, and I've not. I was thinking, you know, because I thought I'd have to move this out of frame if I made a video. I've not made a video since I got this thing, and that was like 2 months ago. So yeah, consider this the start and possibly the only entry of my Doctor Who that is really pleasingly tactile, that click. I just wish this clicked the same way. That's anyone that likes like these fidget toys, I think they're gonna like that, because it's just a really nice, it's really tactile click. Yeah, I've not made any Doctor Who related content. I've not made much content at all this year. Hopefully I'll pick myself back out of this sort of slump and I'll make some more Doctor Who stuff. But yeah, just know that I'm sonicking away my screwdriver day. Yeah, that is it. I'll let you go now. Thank you for watching and have a nice day. Okay, one last thing that just occurred to me when I was doing that. In the trailer, it looks like there's lights on the ends of these 4 prongs. And when I shine it directly at the camera, it does look like they light up. But that's because they're slightly reflective and they're reflecting back the light from the emitter. They don't actually have any lights on them. They are just plain metal. So I don't know if the actual prop has lights on the end of the prongs, or if that's just meant to be reflecting the light like the toy does. I don't know. A little point of interest. Bye.